In the mid-80s, computer programmers Andy Gavin and Jason Rubin joined forces to establish Jam Software, Jam being short for James and Andy Magic. The two made quite a few computer games, though while their beginnings were humble, they weren't exactly must-buys, but the effort was still there. Before the turn of the 90s, the company was rebranded to Naughty Dog, complete with their mascot, and I'll let you be the judge of that one. While the two continued with computer games during the 80s, they shifted their focus to console titles, starting with 1991's Rings of Power for the Sega Genesis. You might want to remember that name for the far future. Hint hint. Never heard that game? Me neither, because guess what mascot was the must-own for the Sega Genesis? Well, during 1991, that was. Jump to 1994 with the development and release of Way of the Warrior, which, by the way, was recorded in Jason's apartment. We're not at that fun fact, but during the mocap filming of the game, people in that building thought the two were filming, and I wish I was kidding about this, a pornography. Anyway, Naughty Dog was almost bankrupt at that point, and what was the thing that changed for the better? Enter Mark Cerny of Universal Interactive Studios. He signed a deal with Andy and Jason for 3 games, and the two moved out to California, driving all the way from Boston, planning their next game in the process. At the time, the Panasonic 3DO, Sega 32X and Sega Saturn, and the Atari Jaguar were proving unsatisfactory. The target console for the 3-game deal was the Sony PlayStation for its quote-unquote sexy nature, as well as the lack of a mascot for the system. One PlayStation dev kit later, and the company began work on their first of 3 games, hiring staff and designing the character and the game itself. They even had a former Sunsoft employee be the producer. The character went through several designs, and the name narrowed down to Willy the Wombat. When they realized the name was copyrighted by Hudson Soft's Japan-exclusive Saturn title, Willy the Wombat, the name was decided one night to replace the placeholder name of Sonic's Ass Game, due to the camera's nature of being behind said character for the most part. Since the nature of the character loved to bash, smash, break, and crash into boxes, it was decided that his name shall be Crash Bandicoot, though not without hesitation from Universal Interactive Tires Ups. While the deal was going on, Naughty Dog and Universal did not see eye to eye, creative conflicts and such, and, well, it's amazing how the series still came to be. A lot could go wrong. The devs weren't even invited to E3, where Universal Interactive tried passing their game as their own, with Naughty Dog's logo absent from the box art. Of course, one of the devs passed out flyers to prevent this plagiarism from going through, with the flyer saying, "Meet the man that developed Crash Bandicoot." The game looked so good at E3 that a lot of people thought it was fake. Nope, the game was real and it was running at full speed. No dropped frames or anything. In fact, it was one of the most anticipated games of that E3. Go figure. Come September 9th, 1996, Crash Bandicoot launched with massive success, being PlayStation 1's best seller for the system. With over 6 million units sold, Naughty Dog was put on the map, and it was only natural to improve upon the formula this game establishes. This was just game 1 of the 3-game contract after all, and believe me, we'll get to the sequels when the time comes. But for now, join me for part 1 of Crash Bandicoot this coming weekend, and I shall leave you with this scrapped intro. See you then!
Vortex is a genius, a mental aberration. He's totally fixated on world domination. The local island creatures are dull and obtuse. Until the evil doctor turns on his juice, he wants them for his troops. They come out nincompoops, most especially Crash Bandicoot. Should have been a genius, but he doesn't quite compute. Crash Bandicoot. Anything can happen now that Crash is in pursuit. Tom has been selected for running through the blender. Crash will fight to save her. He'll never surrender. He'll vanquish any villain to set his girlfriend free. He doesn't have a clue about how to proceed. His heart's in the right place. His brain's been rearranged unsuccessfully. Crash! Crash Bandicoot! If Vortex isn't beaten, he'll reign absolute. Crash! Crash Bandicoot! Play our game and tell your friends so we'll make lots of loot.